claim is that the Bible condemns ending a pregnancy early. No, Christians, the Bible doesn't say that.
This Bible scholar says that the only place the Bible brushes up against abortion is in Exodus 21. He claims
if someone strikes a pregnant woman and she loses the pregnancy, the penalty is just a fine. It's not life for life.
Therefore, he argues that the fetus wasn't considered a full person, but that's not what the text actually says. So let's take a closer look. Exodus chapter 21 verses 22 through 25 are the passages in question. So if we read here, it says, "If men struggle with each other and strike a woman with child so that she gives birth prematurely, yet there is no injury, he shall surely be fined as the woman's husband made demand of him, and he shall pay as the judges decide. But if there is any further injury, then you shall appoint as a penalty life for a life, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and etc., etc." So notice what's happening here. Two men are fighting and they accidentally hit a pregnant woman. She then goes into early labor as a result, and then the law draws a clear distinction between two different outcomes. First, if no one is harmed, meaning that the woman and the child are both safe, the guilty person must only pay a fine. This shows that the law takes the situation seriously, but recognizes that no lasting harm occurred. Second is if harm does occur, what the text call any further injury to the mother or child, then the law demands a penalty of life for life, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Now, some might push back and say that the second scenario only applies to the mother, but the problem with that is that when you read the passage in context, it becomes clear that both the mother and the child are included. The law specifically mentions the premature birth, which shows that the child is at risk. So when the text refers to any further injury, it is addressing harm to anyone affected, and that absolutely includes the unborn child. In other words, the unborn child is treated as a person under the law. If the child dies because of someone else's action, the offender is accountable, just as if they had harmed any other human being. The only time a lesser penalty is applied is when both the mother and the baby escape injury. Now, in regards to his claim that Jewish tradition has always prioritized the mother's life, the earlier sources that he could be referring to would be the Mishnah Ochalat 7:6, which was written roughly 400 years after the New Testament. Even there, the rule only applies in cases where the mother's life is in danger. So even if we take this tradition seriously, it doesn't provide a blanket statement about abortion, and it is limited to extreme life-threatening scenarios. So the claim that the Bible doesn't speak to the topic of abortion is completely wrong. Again, passages like Exodus 21 clearly recognizes the unborn child as having human value, assigning the same serious consequences for harming the child as for harming any other person. In that sense, the commandment, "Thou shalt not murder," applies to the unborn as well, showing that the Bible does in fact treat them as fully human